Hello and welcome to the Chapter 5 review. I was asked to put some music in these videos by students. However, they didn't realize that I am old school, so it's old school music. So this should kind of help you get ready for the Chapter 5 test. Also, make sure you do your study guide, which is also posted on Edmodo. The first topic we have in Chapter 5 is slope. As most people can remember, slope is expressed as a ratio of rise over run. When you're graphing, it's the second thing to do. First thing would be the y-intercept, or you can think of it as y equals mx plus b. B is where you begin, y-intercept. So our first kind of problem is finding the slope of a line that goes through 2 points. So for our first example, we'll use negative 3, 1, and 2, 4. In order to answer this, use what I call the picnic table. We have our fancy Y glasses on top with, of course, the floating butter on top of the X's, which makes it picnic. Alright, so remember that these ordered pairs are always X, Y, X, Y. So we're looking at the second number for our Y. So we're going to subtract 4 minus 1, because those are both Y values. And then below the 4 has to be the X value from that ordered pair, 2 minus negative 3. Alright, so now all we have to do once we plug in our figures is subtract. 4 minus 1 is 3. And 2 minus negative 3, when you see two minus signs next to each other, you can kind of in your head just make this a plus. 2 plus 3 gives you 5. So the slope of this line is 3/5. So let's move on to the next topic, which involves slope, but also involves graphing. So say we had to graph an example like, say, y equals negative 2x plus 3. Now we already know that this is in y equals mx plus b slope-intercept format, because we have the y by itself and we can recognize a number multiplied by the x. That, of course, is the slope that we just calculated in the previous section. But we don't start with slope. When we're graphing, we start with the b, the y-intercept. Think y-intercept b, begin. So we begin at 3. What that means is, here is our x-axis, here is our y-axis. We're going to go as if it were a number line. Start by putting a point at 3. Okay? After you've done that, you are totally done with the y-intercept. Don't do anything else with it. Next, we look at the slope. And the slope of this line is, as you can see, negative 2. Got to make sure you get the signs in front of the numbers. So negative 2, if we were to write that as a fraction, we would write negative 2 over 1. That's helpful because that tells us what our rise and our run are. And if you didn't have the 1, you wouldn't know what to go over. So from this point of 3 that we just made, we're going to, since it's negative, we're going to go down. So we're going to go down 2. So start here, go down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. And if I just plot those 2 points, down 2 over 1 here and here. It's not a very good dot, but you guys get the points. Then connect them. We have our line. This is the graph of y equals negative 2x plus 3. So next we look at the reverse. And in order to figure out the equation for this, we have to track what this line is doing. I'm going to start with some blanks. We can do this y equals mx plus b, or y equals blank x plus blank. Of course, filling in this blank, the number that we're adding to the x will be our y-intercept, and then we're multiplying to the x will be our slope. So we'll track our equation here, and if I'm looking at this y-axis, it's very clear that the y crosses the y right here, which if you count, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our y-intercept in this case is 5. That's part of our equation. And I'm going to track where we go from there from this y-intercept. It looks like we go down 1, 2, 3, and over 1, 2. Again, if we can just double check, down 1, 2, 3, over 2. I know this is not the best line, but you can see that that's a consistent slope. So if we're going down, that means our number is negative. We are going down 3. So our rise is negative 3. And then we go over 2. So our run is 2. And the slope of this line is y is equal to negative 3 over 2x plus 5. That is the solution to all the ordered pairs that you can plug into this equation. Time for a brain break. Research says that just looking at a baby changes what your mind does. You kind of are thinking differently than you just were by looking at the videos. So, time to take a brain break. Look at this baby. He's single and loving it. Now, next, for the next few problems, what I'd like you to do is don't just watch the video because it's not going to help you. This is supposed to help you for the test. Pretend that the questions I'm going to give you are test questions. And with those, just try them as if they're on the test. Do it on paper and then unpause it and see if I do it the same way. That's the best way to help you review. Okay? So do it. So like I was saying, our next example, point slope. We have 2 points, but we have to write the equation of this line in point slope, slope intercept, and standard form. All right. Hope you guys are ready. This one's going to take some work. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we see 2 points. We think, what can we do with 2 points? And the only thing so far we've looked at is picnic table equation. So guess what? That's what we're going to do. And like I said before, now might be a good time for you guys to pause, try to figure it out, at least work to the point slope before you unpause. I'll change colors, and that way you'll know I'm working on the next part, the slope intercept. So in order to write this in point slope, we're going to need a point and a slope. We have 2 points, but we don't have the slope yet. So I'm going to take these points. Again, this is an xy and an xy. So it's going to be 5 minus negative 1 over 5 minus 3. 5 minus negative 1 is 6. 5 minus 3 is 2. So our slope of this line is 6 over 2, or 3. That's great. So we need to write an equation of this line in point slope. Well, your magical point slope equation is, say it. I didn't hear it. Say it again. Good. You are right. It was y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. You should know this equation by now. So we have part of it. We have the m part of it. So I'm going to erase the m, add in 3. Okay, next. These 2 points right here are plugins. So we're going to plug in either point. Looks to me like 5, 5 is the easier one, so I'm going to plug that in. Let me erase this and plug in our points. Okay, so here we can put a 5. That was a mistake. Let's try it again. Plug in a 5 and a 5. Okay, so we have answered our question in point slope as of right here. That's what point slope looks like. All right, so might be a good idea if you got this answer for point slope, hit pause. Now you write that in slope intercept. In case you forgot, slope intercept is y by itself. Y equals mx plus b. Okay? We're back. Or maybe not, but you should really pause it when I say. Now, the first thing you should do is, when we're trying to get y by itself, is recognize that right here we have a number outside parentheses, and we can distribute that. So we're going to